Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for having me. What I'd like to do is take a look at the digital landscape, just quickly look at the trends, which you'll be familiar with them, but a quick update on that, but then really hook that in to how you can take advantage of those trends by having a really clear digital plan. And then I'll talk about the great partnership that John just mentioned. So, current landscape that you're operating in, let's face it, VICs are incredible customer service providers, incredible information providers, so passionate about what you do, but in a lot of cases you're also like an online travel agency, so you've got lots of roles to deal with. So it's just as important, as you heard from the other speakers, to be focused on what's happening in the online landscape so that you can be competitive there too. So it's just so important to tourism generally. I mean, most people are using the internet as part of their searching and planning for their holidays. And we know that. But the real opportunity in here, and this is research from Tourism Australia, is that 65% are influenced by other people's posts online to the extent that they will put that destination on their bucket list as a result of that. So a lot of people, those 65% of people, haven't yet made up their mind where they're going. So that's an incredible opportunity for every destination to try to grab their share of the online marketplace. But of course, they don't just search on Google, they're not just somewhere in the internet, they're also very much on social media, and that is a big influencer and has been a big game changer for all of us who are in marketing of tourism and destinations over the last 10 years. We know that Facebook continues to grow enormously and keeps changing the way it operates. It's become very much a marketing and advertising platform now. And the rise of Instagram and its ownership by Facebook makes those two platforms incredibly important to the consumer when they are making their holiday decisions. A lot of regional tourism destinations, the older drive market is a primary market for them, and over 50s are the fastest growing age group adopting social media. So it is an area of our digital strategy that is growing in importance all the time, and we need to understand how to really use it in a business sense and to get a return for our effort. The other major game changer has been mobile. I liked Peter Lippman's statistic this morning in terms of navigation tools whilst on holidays, and 35% were using their mobile device for navigation. Well, a lot more than that are using it for a whole lot of other things whilst they're on holidays, whilst they're travelling. 85% of them are taking it on their holidays and using it. How many people have had a tech-free holiday? Have you ever made a conscious decision to say, yes? And we'll probably see a bit more of that in the future. And then you'll be catering to them and making sure that their needs are met. But mobile is going to continue to grow in terms of bookings. So, having a mobile-friendly booking system is incredibly important today. But I think the real telling statistics on this slide is that 67% of people are more likely to purchase from a mobile-friendly site, but 61% are not prepared to push through if it's not mobile-friendly. In the tourism operator land, our stats show us, our own research, that only 50% of tourism operators have a mobile-friendly website, so it's a really big issue on the industry side. Travellers' reviews, travellers' opinions, this has been another huge trend and change maker for us in selling tourism and holidays. We know that TripAdvisor is the largest travel site in the world. Love them or hate them. Anyone from TripAdvisor here? No, but okay, I'll say it again, love them or hate them. They are a huge beast and a very commercial channel now. They started off, just like a lot of social platforms do, as being a trusted source of, unbiased information. Well, they've had to change a lot of the words around that now in their marketing because they've been proven that that's not the case. There's a lot of things that happen. But having said that, a lot of consumers are using them. I use it, and it is a great driver of influence. And when you manage TripAdvisor and other review platforms well, and that's why it needs to be an important part of your digital strategy, you can really get a lot of better business out of it as a result. And you can see that one statistic on the bottom left there, that research has shown that if you have consistently 5-star ratings in TripAdvisor, you can increase your price by 11% because price does not become as much of a decision maker in that situation. 90% of people use the internet to search for travel, and in a lot of cases that is on Google. Yet only 40% of businesses have actually optimised their website for search. And look, I understand when I'm speaking with small businesses, VICs, local tourism associations, there's a lot that keeps changing in Google, and there are a lot of facets to it. But it is still one of the most important platforms, as you would know by the web traffic coming to your own VIC website, and it needs to be looked after. So search optimisation and having a great profile on Google is incredibly important. Google has coined a new phrase in marketing, and I think this sort of shows it all coming together in terms of web and social and mobile and changes in search, and that's micro moments. And Google has coined this phrase to describe the fact that people are now searching and getting their information and being influenced in tiny moments of time where they might be standing at a bus stop and they think, oh, I'll just have a look for that to see what people are saying about Nimbin. What are they saying about it? They're multitasking. They're doing other things whilst they're doing this searching. In fact, there was a stat that a lady from What If gave at a conference last year that said that 15% of people have used their phone whilst they've been having sex. Oh. Yeah, I know you're all going, bad sex, I don't know, whatever, but, or they're getting tips, I don't know. But so this whole thing of multitasking is, and I always lose the audience. I think I need to give up that joke. So people are engaging when it suits them on their terms. What does this mean for you? You can't control when they do that, but what you can do is control your own online presence and make sure that it's as good as it can be and that you have a good plan sitting around that. Now, we saw the 5 stages of travel before from Glenn. Thank you, Glenn. You had it going the other way, which is great. So we're all familiar with the 5 stages of travel. Now, when we're thinking about the strategy, yes, it is a little bit different, as Glenn said, for each one, and you can do different things there. What are we ultimately trying to do? We're trying to move people. What is conversion to us now? Is it just booking? No, conversion now online is moving them to each of the next stages in the travel purchase cycle and ultimately moving them to book with you. And that's, you know, the conversion you're really looking for is to get them to stay in your town and book a product, hopefully, that you're selling. But even more ultimately than that, what we're trying to do is move them to the advocacy stage, because 90% of people trust peer reviews over advertising. So we want to turn all these visitors that come to your destinations and towns to a member of your marketing team. So thinking about those sort of major trends, I can't see any other way around it than you have to have a good plan to be able to tick all the boxes that you need to. How many of you actually have a digital strategy or a digital plan? A number, that's great. And, you know, there's a view that why are we even talking digital strategy today? Digital's just part of business now. It should just be part of your business plan. You know, we're just living digital. But the reality is that we are still in a transition phase, and there are still a lot of people my age and older who are the decision makers, who have the checkbooks, who sign off your initiatives and marketing developments, and they need to be convinced. Having a good digital plan, well mapped out, showing what the objectives are, what you're hoping the return on investment will be, is one way to do that. And also, if you have a plan, you're more likely to do it. If you don't have a plan, you may find you're being quite ad hoc with these things. And when you're asked, does it work for you? Oh, I'm not really sure, because I'm not really measuring it against targets that I've set. So that's why I'm a big fan of having a digital plan, even if it's quite modest and really addresses things that you can afford to do. It doesn't have to do everything, but there are some fundamental elements of it, and that's what I would like to step through today. I've created a little digital roadmap that is really about taking a journey, and it links into the signpost presentation this morning by Peter, in terms of if you get to each of these signposts, you get to one, then you can move to the other. So the very first thing in your digital roadmap is you really need to assess where you are now, really, truly. So if you go to write any strategy, the first thing you're going to do is say, where am I now? It's the same thing with digital. You need to be able to do a good, solid review of your website, how you're using social media, what conversion you're getting, and hopefully you can track that. Hopefully you've got that set up to track. Do some user testing, check against your marketing plan and your objectives, and get a good objective analysis of where you are now. Then, and only then, can you go on to create the plan, because you know where the weaknesses are, and you know where your priorities are that you need to work on. So that's a big thing in our world, is making sure that people understand where they are before they actually get to writing the plan. Now, the plan will have different priorities in it, and will have many of the things I'm about to step through, the next signposts. And they will have varying degrees of urgency for you. But at least with a digital strategy, you can put some timeframes on it, some budget, some resources, and work it through in a very planned way. So, creating the plan. A very important part of the plan, and often something that is missed, is building the capability in your team and also in your region, in your industry. So, if you're going to bring somebody in to help you to write this plan, that's great, but then who's going to really lead it for your team? Who is going to make sure that they are implementing that plan, leading on the content schedule, creating and curating content, measuring the analytics, reporting up, those sorts of things? How many of you have a dedicated digital officer? And that's something I think, to be serious in the online space, we have to be moving there. I love the initiative of calling in the school kids to do the social media. That is so good. I just love it. But you still needed to lead it, and you needed to say what sort of content they were going to create, etc. So yeah, you can bring the arms and legs in from a lot of places, but you need to be leading on it. And this is where having the capability locally, yeah, tap into young people, absolutely. But if you can build the capability of your local industry around you as well, that's when you get the opportunity for collaboration as well. And that's when you can start getting people to take great images, know how to apply the hashtags, take videos and share those. So digital capability in terms of your ability to implement your plan and to lead in your local area is very important. Allocate resources. I asked the question about the digital officer. This is probably the most commonly left out bit when people are actually building, digital assets, when they're setting up social media and building a new website. Quite often they forget about the bit about allocating the resources to look after it. And so I just think that's one thing to be very mindful of, and to make sure that you have done the shuffle in your team or have got the funding to bring somebody in to be able to do the implementation and the measuring as well. Quality web presence. We get asked all the time to deliver training on social media. When we go into the workshop and you've got tourism operators or local tourism staff sitting around the table and you say, what do you need to know? What's going on? Where are you at? Often what surfaces is that they really don't know how to manage their web developer relationship. They don't know how to manage how their website's going. They're not happy with the amount of traffic they're getting. So we end up doing a fair bit of work on reviewing their website and trying to get that to a better position. And we've got to be really very honest with ourselves. Our website is our shopfront. That's like your visitor information centre, but it's online. And it needs to be really schmick. The thing that glues all of you together is your passion for customer service. You're really good at it. So you need to look at your website as another means of delivering that customer service. So for example, if somebody walks into your visitor information centre, you probably do a great job and your volunteers do a great job at telling them about what they can do in the area. Make it really easy for them. Whereas often on websites, and this is a bit of a hangover from, design from a few years ago and even further back, is we ask the user to actually climb through menus and, tell us what they like and drop down boxes and things to tell us what they want to do rather than us telling them what they can do. So that's just a simple kind of example of where we need to get the websites right, because why are you doing social media? Often you're doing it to drive visitation to your website so that they can get other information. Why are you doing electronic marketing? To drive people to your website. So we need to get the web presence really very customer focused. It needs to be very well aligned with your brand marketing, and it needs to tie back into your objectives, your business objectives for the VIC. Now, if your VIC is about sales or visitor servicing, maybe a combination of both, then those objectives need to come into the website, and the way that it is structured and the way that the user flows through it needs to support those. So your quality web presence is the first thing you need to look at. Online reputation management. You may feel that that's more for the individual businesses who you're working with, and it is incredibly important to them, but of course it's important to VICs as well. How many of you have gone and claimed your VIC listing in TripAdvisor? Quite a few. That's low-hanging fruit for you, is to go into TripAdvisor, claim your VIC listing, they're under attractions, and make sure that you've got somebody responding, just as if you're a business, responding to the reviews. Anybody who's in a retail role in travel and tourism needs to be just as focused on their reputation management as an accommodation provider or a tour operator. Of course, it's not just TripAdvisor. If you've got a Facebook page, you can turn on reviews. You'll get reviews in Google. So you've got places already where people are writing about you, and you can't stop them, but you need to start managing it and making the most of it as well. Because there's tremendous opportunity on those review platforms when you respond to reviews to upsell and tell them about other things that are coming up. So online reputation management is just as important. The other opportunity in here too is just to trawl through forums as well. So where there's consumer-generated content, not quite reviews, but where consumers are writing about destinations or special interests, you can do it. You go to forums in TripAdvisor and you can do a search in there for, if you have hiking tours in wherever, have a look and see what people have written, and you can respond as a visitor information centre employee. Same with wiki camps as well. You can keep an eye on that, just see what people are talking about. Develop a content plan. Content is still king, and I don't think it ever went out of favour in that role, but it's been reinforced even more so over the last couple of years with the changes that Google has made. And so the information that you make available to your customers through your website, through blogs on your website, through content through your social media channels, it's all a really important way for you to service your customer. If you think about the top 10 questions that visitors to your visitor information centre ask when they come in, and I'm sure that's not that hard for you to get, have a look, do a test yourself at how easy it is to find the answers to those questions, the related information on your website. Write blogs about those things, sort of spin-off stories around there. Get your volunteers to write stories related to that, because there'll be a raft of things that come under those headings. So those are the sorts of things you can put into a content plan. And that content plan then gives you a forward plan to be able to reuse that content on social channels. Social media strategy, really important for council-owned organisations, because a social media strategy includes a social media policy, and I know that some councils are quite sensitive about social media usage. Are any of you experiencing challenges in that way? Hopefully it's reducing and that you do now have a policy. I know that there are local government social media policies that are basically Creative Commons amongst the local government group that you could share. So I highly recommend that needs to be part of your strategy. Then you're setting the ground rules about who can do what and identifying where the risks are. And then you have guidelines for each of your social media platforms. So social media strategy includes a policy, includes guidelines for Facebook, and then to a lesser extent for, say, Instagram. You may use Twitter as well since you're related to council. And also a schedule, so a posting schedule. And this is where you decide, based on your resources that you have available, how often you're going to post. You make sure you have a balance of posts. You don't want to always be saying, look at me, aren't we great, come to our website. You need to be being educational and entertaining. If you're talking to people who already like you, you don't want to keep saying, like me, because they already like you. So you need a balance there of what you're posting, and your schedule will help you to plan that. Thanks. Measure and report. No point in having done all this without some mechanism to be able to measure. Make sure you've got, get the help you need to set up your Google Analytics very well, track campaigns through analytics. You can hook into a platform called Google Search Console, which will give you even better measurability about your website and where the traffic is coming from. And make sure you keep reporting on that up to the stakeholders. And the great thing about the environment we're working in here online is it's a test and measure environment. You can't really fail. You can just stop doing something and do something else, which is great. So the measuring, as you're doing it is incredibly important. And last signpost here is research and review. So just stay on top of this space. So tap into what you can to understand where the changes are, speak to your customers, find out what platforms they're using, keep tracking the questions they're asking. And then keep reviewing that strategy and keep it as a live document, because this space is moving so quickly. If Google makes another change or Facebook changes another thing, it's like, God, my brain's going to explode. So we can't all be on top of it completely. So we need to help each other to stay on top of this and share the insights. So that's a little trip that we've done, and I know that's very top line, but I really wanted to get that message home about having a comprehensive digital plan for your VIC. Now, the next thing I'd like to do, and I've just got a few minutes to do it in, and that's all I need, is to make the announcement that John mentioned before. I've been working with John and Lynn over the last couple of months because we've set up this thing called Tourism Tribe. Was I a slide behind? Oh, God, no? Oh, there we go. Getting on top of your digital game. So that's not what we called it, but that's what it's about, is we've set up Tourism Tribe. And what that is an online learning community. My business partners and I, do any of you know Fabian Wintle? Has she ever come through your town and done any coaching at any stage? She's one of my business partners, and we've both been involved in the digital capability side and digital strategy for a long time, and we just wanted to tackle it differently. So in the middle of last year we launched Tourism Tribe, and it's really aimed at people who work, just people like you, who work in tourism in regional areas, and for tourism operators as well. And the whole idea is to give you access to tools for learning and support so that you can keep improving your skill level and get the help you need around digital. We're a little bit frustrated with all the government money that's been put into workshops and training. We see people go to the workshop see them go home and nothing happen. So we thought they need something that's continual that they can tap into. So speaking with John and Lynn, we said, how can we do something in New South Wales as part of the accredited Visitor Information Centre program? So we said, okay, let's come up with a model. So just a little bit more, so you don't have to jump on your own is what that's all about. We're here to help you. A little bit about the platform. So what we do is we keep you updated with via email, very short emails with updates and news and things that's changing that we think is relevant to you. It's all about tourism, it's all about digital. We have a live chat line, which is a very good thing if you're into customer service at all. Many of you probably have that as well on your website so that you can ask a question. And that is open between 8 and 7, Monday to Friday, Central Standard Time. We also have all of the tourism e-kit tutorials. Are any of you familiar with them? We're the licence holders of those. Now, the 65 tutorials that we have to keep up to date. So we are reconfiguring them and keeping them modern, and we're actually reconstructing them quite a lot at the moment. But there's a great resource there in terms of the basics of online marketing for tourism, specifically for tourism, 65 tutorials. We've added to that already a whole lot of blog posts, videos, other learning resources that you can access. And then we have online support forums as well. And there's a huge amount of activity in here, even though we've only been running since July. I think there's been over 500 questions and answers have exchanged on these forums. Things about booking systems, things about different social media platforms, just Google, really quite technical and really quite basic questions. And we've got coaches who are enlisted in the platform who come in and answer the questions. We also have seen other members have answered the questions as well. So it's great to see that exchange. 65 tutorials, lots of those. So what John and Len and I have done is come up with a model, basically a membership to Tourism Tribe. Normally, the normal cost of that is $119 a year, which I know isn't very much, but we still wanted to make it easier for you guys. And the reason that we're doing that is help you improve the skills of yourself and your staff. And so we want to give you, your staff and you, a free membership into Tourism Tribe. Free, absolutely free. And that's so that you can grow your digital capability. And then what we'd like to do is incentivise you to grow the digital capability of your local area. So we can go out and keep working with a variety of people or trying to go direct. We've got about 400 people have joined Tourism Tribe now since July, which is pretty good. But we could keep going on that path and hopefully we'll get lots more, because the more people who are on there, the more successful the platform is. But what we'd like to do is incentivise you and give you, do a special deal for them and make it $90 for your local operators to join, but give you 10% of each of those memberships if they come in through your membership code. And in that way, the whole destination will improve. I know that's not a huge amount of dollars, but we hope that, with volume and over time, that's going to be good for you. So how it will work is free access for you guys and your staff, an affiliate model for you to sign up local operators. After year 1, we want you to still have 5 local operators, and then your free access is maintained. And what we'll do is we will provide you with regular content. If you haven't, do any of you have industry newsletters? I know that there's the Aurora one. But we will give you a little regular column that you can put in there with tips for your local operators, so that will hopefully keep them motivated and interested and hooked into you, as well as remind them that they've got this Tourism Tribe offer. So there's a flyer on your chair. We've built a special page for you on Tourism Tribe where you can go and register and say, yep, I'm interested in this. And then we'll come back to you with your own special code for your Visitor Information Centre. So you'll each have a unique code that you join with so that you can then track. We can share with you how many people have joined. So I hope that helps. It is a new initiative. We've got a couple of things happening across other states, but this is the first one that's statewide. And I think working with the VICs is we want to work with people who want to work with us. And that's when John and Lynn came to me, I thought, yep, let's do it. So I hope that that is going to be good, and we'd love to see you all on there. So thanks.